EDG.
The Ashe comes in. Zeri was banned away. They're not going to give away the Varus and the Ashe. That feels like a death sentence if you were to let that one go over. So it looks like Ruler are going to be going on to the Varus. Again, another very highly prized pick in this bot lane as we start to see less scaling AD carries and more about those big upfront bursts. Kanavi going to lock in the Sejuani as well, so we could see some melee top and mid laners coming in here for the side of JDG. But for EDG now, you would imagine they would want to lock in the fully completed bot lane, get their jungle sorted as well as we work through the rest of these picks. But going to have a very different vibe in this game comparatively to game number 1, Kitty.
For sure, for sure. I think Sylas is going to be the hot and contested mid-champion because you just have so many good ultimates coming out of both sides of the team. I wouldn't be surprised if FoFo just picks it up right now because you have the Varus and Sejuani already shown on the side of JDG, and it also links up extremely well for Wukong. So I think JDG, if it does get let open, they pick Sylas instead because obviously the synergy between just the melee solo laners with the Sejuani is also very valuable, and it also depends on what the top lane matchup looks like as well.
Well, I might go for the Jhin here, covering for an opportunity of a Heimerdinger in that bot side. Could see the Heimerdinger flex as well, so very excited for that particular pick there. Really wants to get that one locked and loaded, so going to be the Jhin coming in here. You would imagine it would be a Jhin AD carry with Ashe support, but they are interchangeable between the two. Heimerdinger going to be locked in here. You would also imagine here for the side of JDG as Missing and Ruler look to try and just run an arms race in that bot side. And the problem is, though, is that whichever one ends up getting the priority with the Ashe or the Heimerdinger and gets that first item or even that first few, you know, kind of components of items, tends to have a much more control around that bot side of the map, which could lead to more early dragons. So it is very much going to be about where these bot laners are able to kind of move that priority, move themselves. And right now, both teams just waiting to see what their solo laners can be before fully committing.
Yeah, I mean, I do prefer the Ashe much more over the Heimerdinger support. I just think with her being able to build the Umbral Glaive, it just provides so many opportunities in terms of the vision control around that early objectives. So JJ is going to just have a banger of a time if Meiko does get to pop off and this Ashe support and get gold into his pockets, where he's able to pick up those items earlier online for the side of EDG. Mid laners are going to get taken off the board for the second banning phase. Azir, I'm assuming Ryze is going to also get banned, but Cassidy being banned for the side of EDG does insinuate that they're looking for a champion like Sylas.
Looking for something. We'll see with the Azir ban. Of course, FoFo's most played in his career, so definitely not a strange one to be seeing against EDG at the moment. But with the Jace ban away as well, I do like this. You've already got the Renekton off the board. Those are big melee top laners that we were talking about. And we'll see if they want to go get rid of the Jax as well, because remember, we did see 369 go for the counter, did go for the Kennen, it did not work. But with the Sejuani there and the Fiora banned, we could see just kind of a straight up off this rotation, JDG picking up that Jax and saying, look, you can't have it. So we'll see what EDG want to prioritize.
I mean, yeah, the Jax is available once again, but there are a lot of viable counters like the Gwen and the Kennen. Depends on what 369 decides to opt into this time around, because you do have the Sejuani this time on your team composition, so a bit more reliable CC and of course frontline for this game too. We're just gonna expect another similar matchup, I believe. We have the Jax also. We also have the Jax going towards 369 this time. Did not expect this.
Yeah, well, they don't want to go for the Gragas just yet. They haven't locked it in, so we'll wait till that one gets confirmed, and there it is. But EDG could... Yeah, I know, right? This is the new evolution of the fans in China. It's like you used to have, like, obviously, like LCK had like the phones with the text that goes across. China have just gone full GIFs and full like pictures of people now on iPads. So it's pretty great to see. I would be surprised though to see EDG not take, to take the Kennen would be a strange one in my opinion. But you do have the Wukong for extra engage and the Ashe. This could work out for them if they want to try and go for it and take their matchup in their own hands.
Yeah, the matchup has been swapped around, it seems like, for this game too, but I just think the top lane for game 1 definitely wasn't the problem. 369 played to his best potential. Unfortunately, his jungle was just far too behind, so the early game is really dependent on Kanavi once again. Sylas doesn't get picked up for the side of EDG, however, Viktor does get locked in. A lot of scaling for the side of EDG this time around, but I'm afraid you don't have enough damage to really fight off the Sejuani and Jax in this early game.
They're going to go with the Viktor as well. So swapping out the solo lanes and saying to themselves, look, we can do these compositions better than you. We can use the Viktor and the Kennen a lot more with a lot more potency than you did in that game one. But the Sylas for Knight, something he's very happy with. You can see him there, smiles on his face, kind of saying, look, I know what we're going to be able to do here. He has so many great ultimates to steal away. I will say the one thing that's kind of a bit of a bait and switch. I don't know if you really want the Wukong ultimate that often. I find that when you take the Wukong ultimate, you can't cast any more abilities while in that animation. So curious to see which one he does end up prioritizing. But the Ashe arrow, the Kennen ultimate, so many ways to get himself into team fights, can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and just the entire synergy of JDG's topside, Jack, Sejuani, and Sylas, definitely very skirmish heavy and losing this series up against EDG because they are very promising on paper.
Said like a proper JDG fan.
I'm sorry.
You shouldn't be losing. How dare you do this to me? Make me look like a fool in front of my friends.
An absolute fool.
But yes, we're going to need to see more from JDG. They have the tools available to them, a lot more proactivity. You're not just relying on one or two ultimates. You've got plenty to set something up. You've got plenty to try and make work for you. So want to see a little bit more coming out from the JDG, especially on the top side. It did feel like 369, Knight, and Kanavi, especially in those first few minutes, were just very muted, not really making the plays they needed to. And then on the bot side, Ruler was just left to try and pick up the pieces. Didn't obviously have a great game at all, but would definitely not be leaving it completely on his head as we now get both bot lanes coming in. I will say that the Heimerdinger has gotten priority now, so we should see... nice little bit of damage coming in here from Ala onto 369. Nice little ward as well. But with the Heimerdinger turrets now in position, it becomes very difficult to kind of reclaim this. This is why you see a lot of teams when against the Heimerdinger take control with a 5-man stack of these lane brushes, because you just... very difficult to kind of gain it back after a while.
Yeah, and we didn't see EDG stopping the towers going down at that level 1, so of course missing gets the level 1 push naturally. But we see both junglers starting their red buff. Realistically, they could look for a 3v3 in this bottom side of the map. However, I would love to see the Kennen getting ahead in this lane with a bit of help from Jiejie once again. We already saw him do extremely well on this Wukong in game 1, so I'm not afraid to say that he probably is going to do the exact same in this game too. But it really just depends on how EDG's solo lane is play for that lead to really generate again.
Kanavi, what did I say? What did I say about invades? None of that now. He might try and go towards that top side, but no, he's going straight towards the mid lane. Should be spotted out by... yeah, plenty of wards, and Jiejie is around, so they are trying to maybe bait this one out just a little bit. FoFo, you can see him just tantalizingly hovering it above him like a carrot in front of a donkey and saying, come on, take a bite of it. You know you want it, and now he's going to go for it. They drop down the gravity well. They're going to try and turn this one around straight away. They do get the abscond abduct, and Kanavi is dead. Not able to get Knight out without him using his flash, and EDG strike first once again.
But Kanavi just plays into the hands of EDG FoFo. He goes in for the kill, and that stun plays down by FoFo was just perfect. It was just zoning both Kanavi and Knight from continuing the play. And of course, Jiejie coming in, expecting a counter gank out of the Wukong, and picks up first blood for Jiejie. Once again, a very similar repeat of game 1. But we do see Sejuani trying to dodge the vision. However, this ward is really well placed from FoFo and does end up spotting Sejuani trying to get a kill onto this mid lane, and Jiejie waiting very patiently as FoFo is trying to bait Kanavi into getting this play, as Knight also follows up, but of course just the stun and the pure zone that FoFo provided in this team, in this 2v2 was just amazing.
And as well as that, I love what FoFo did there as well. He stood in his gravity well and said, cool, both of you are melee. If you want to try and stun me with the E on the E on the Sejuani, you're going to have to try and get onto melee range, which is going to stun you anyway. So small little plays like that. Again, FoFo just doing really, really well. Has kind of solidified himself as honestly one of our best mid laners for the last few years. Has never really had an opportunity to kind of show it at an international level, or even in the playoffs, to be perfectly honest. He has fallen short of the mark, but definitely coming out strong in this particular game, really playing well. And that's, again, just more priority here for the side of EDG. We will see, though, EDG playing respectfully, saying, look, we do not know where the Sylas is. We do not have total vision control, but we do see Kanavi coming in, so he's probably on this bot side. So yeah, more and more priority, as 369 now in a lot of trouble. Going to take a hell of a lot of damage. One last Q. Yeah, doesn't have TP and now has to try and deal with this top side. He actually went back early for a null magic mantle and he's still yet to see allied base.
A really good discipline coming out of the bot lane of EDG. They saw the Sylas roaming on a ward, I believe, placed down by FoFo on the Raptor camp, so they just backed out. Although missing 2 waves, it was just way more worth to just, you know, trade it off instead of challenging the 2v4 situation in bot side. And of course, Jiejie trying to make something happen in that top lane, where 369 has already burnt the TP just from the pure range matchup, and of course the amount of bully that Alice is able to do on this airy Kennen. And he's just desperately trying to get this wave in, but if Sejuani is able to create a dive here, it might be really good for JDG.
Yeah, might be hard though. He'll be level 6 hit by Ala very soon. So yeah, they recognize it as well. They saw the writing on the wall and said, you know what? He's literally the end of this wave. He should be level 6, and that's not exactly. Actually, doesn't even hit it at the end there. So a bit unfortunate there. As we see Knight taking a very unfortunate trade, but was looking to try and just hard force this wave in underneath the tower. FoFo very safe on top of his Viktor, just gonna clear up all this farm. Missing is gonna see that the dragon is being taken right now. Meiko roaming up to make sure he isn't a nuisance. And with the Sejuani going topside, there's no real contest here. And again, EDG get themselves a very early dragon.
And Ala is just farming these tower plays because 369 doesn't have that TP available. But like you said, the first dragon going towards EDG, where they want to be grabbing these early dragons, just getting that plus 5 minutes onto the time, or onto the ticking time bomb, where you can just delay the game for the Viktor and Jhin to really settle into the game and let Ala create these flank angles once his items are online.
Well, we'll wait to see now. Level 6 is where the composition or the opportunity, shall we say, from the JDG side really kind of find themselves. Chain of Corruption, of course, you get to hijack ultimates away as Knight on this Sylas. He is thinking about it, but again, like what you talked about a little earlier, the discipline, the respect given by this EDG bot lane. They're kind of saying, look, yeah, we're going to miss 2 or 3 minions. That's fine. We'll accept that. They now see a Kanavi is sitting here in the river, so they know that their intuition was correct, and that's going to keep them even safer as we go forward into this game.
Oh, Jiejie doesn't even... I mean, Kanavi doesn't even get his scuttle. He just gets egoed up. Unless he challenges this, it does go towards the side of Jiejie this time around, but... I think morale is just a very real thing coming into these professional matches, Oisin. We saw that JDG had a very disappointing loss up against Weibo Gaming, and their entire just... I don't know how to describe it, but the way they showed up on game day for today, it just doesn't look like the normal JDG we usually see.
The mojo. You'll learn. You'll learn of the Mojo's funny ways. You know, Munchables will have a class session sometime next week. But yeah, honestly, it does feel like it is a very relevant thing that we see a lot of the time, is that when you're feeling good, you're feeling good, and when you're not, you really aren't. So it is an interesting kind of setup that you see the players coming in. You know, IG are probably a great example of the mojo, because they are a team that come in with the intros. They're feeling good. They're looking great. Yeah, they're 5-2,
they're
but
hyped up.
you know. Yeah, they're hyped up. They're feeling it. So you kind of have that opportunity of coming in here, and you don't want to be getting too down on yourself, because, again, this is where we talk about the expectations. The expectations that you set for yourself are very much of the same kind of lineage as 369. Going to find Jiejie and catch the decoy. Nothing more, nothing less. Rift Herald should be secured now in the next couple of seconds for Kanavi, and that's going to be an objective for JDG. But yeah, the mojo is real, Kitty, and you will learn as the season goes on. Mojo is more prevalent, more powerful than any meta read you could ever have.
I will learn of this weird term called the mojo, and I'll ask Mr. Munchables himself. But as we approach level 6 for the bottom side of this game, there's going to be a lot more kill threat as we approach 9 minutes into the game. Maybe playing the top side, however.
Oh, there's nothing you can do here as 369, and now Kanavi's probably going to have to try and flash away as well. Does get himself over the wall. That could have been embarrassing if he ended up face planting, but yeah. I mean, I don't like to call a game over, but this is looking oddly similar to game number 1.
Jiejie is just always there for these plays. He's just reading Kanavi like a book, and Ala obviously just having the ultimate available. 369 even flashing away isn't enough to get away from the grasp of EDG, where they burnt 2 flashes to follow up in this play. We can see 369 initiating the engage, but of course flashing away. Sejuani ult misses, which is huge, and this entire play just kind of flops onto the ground as you don't have enough damage to really finish anyone off anymore. But yeah, like I've been saying, Jiejie, he has been taking over the map so well on this Wukong pick again. and Kanavi not able to find these angles for a solo lane is to get them ahead. And I need to stress this, that you're up against a Viktor, Kennen, and Jhin later on into the game, while you have a Sylas, so it's not going to be the same amount of damage coming to these 5v5s.
I mean, absolutely. And if you're able to keep, keep Kanavi away from you, have him at arm's length. I will say missing, looking to try and maybe make something work here with the ultimate grenade, but again, Eve playing respectfully. Okay, I don't have my Ashe, I don't have any vision whatsoever on this bot side, so I should just back away. We now see Meiko might be caught out himself, but just drops a ward and backs himself away. Chanted Crystal Arrow does not land, and again, more and more respect coming out from EDG. They're not. This is the beauty, and this is what we kind of separate the the good teams from the great teams. The good teams will have mechanically good players, absolutely, but the better teams, the great teams, will not just give you any opportunities. You'll have good players, and you won't give other good players an opportunity to get against you. So really, really well played right now for the side of EDG. We will see Shelly get dropped into this bot side. A couple of plates goes over to JDG's bot lane, but again, they're not gaining the full purchase they probably want from this. With Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, we will see if they want to try and maybe make a play.
Yeah, we do have 4 plates going towards the pocket of Ruler, and I need to also highlight that he is currently 20 CS above Jhin, but that's just because of how scared EDG's bot lane has been trying to avoid these angles of letting JDG back into the game by dying. Kanavi trying to look for something here, though. Wukong not having the flash available.
Well, not having the flash, but does have the Cyclone. There's the Crystal Arrow. He's going to land here, so it might be a little bit of a trade. The Chaos Storm not going to be enough as Kanavi does get himself away. Lots of health bar trading, as we can see now. 369 looking for something, but he's not underneath the tower. He's looking for one more tick. Not quite able to get it, but now 369 is going to have to back himself away. Ale still has priority in this lane.
And this is exactly how you expect a Kennen Jax lane to be going. 369 deciding to stay for an extra wave, while Ale just spent all his spells trying to get this wave in. Knight, however, giving up the dragon and trying to get a pick onto Ale where he doesn't have that flash available.
Doesn't have the flash, doesn't have the ultimate. Knight is skulking around the corner. Ale recognizes a little bit too late that he's probably going to be dying. Knight flashes, but he's not close enough. Oh my god! That was so well played by Ale, but Knight, you gotta do better than that.
I don't know if that's Ale just getting away with crime, or if Knight just flashed way too late to have that ultimate connect. Ale didn't have flash to respond, so you had the Kennen ult and the flash, and you weren't able to just finish off the little Kennen in the side lane. EDG getting the second dragon into their pockets as well, where Knight makes it back, but it's way too late.
And they're trying to get something. This is panic now. You can see it in JDG. They're scrambling. They're looking around, trying to find something. EDG are not allowing them to have anything in this match. And it feels like bit by bit, little by little, JDG are just not coming together.
Their mental is slowly crumbling. This was a 100% kill secured for Knight, but Ale just gets the stun off as soon as Knight jumps in with that ultimate available. He even flashes for it, but Ale just a little bit too fast. I don't know if it's boots diff or it's just mental diff, but he gets out in the very end.
Bit of both, to be perfectly honest. It's Ale having so much now priority in this top side. We will see the junglers now in the bot lane. They really want to try and confirm this turret. Again, like that full plate would be nice here for JDG. It's hard to burn it down. You can see with the Jhin not having the greatest of wave clear, but FoFo's around, looking to try and maybe make something work here, but they don't want to over-contest this. They don't want to over-force themselves and leave themselves open for a counter-attack, so EDG back themselves away. JDG, we need to make something happen. They've got the Yomus, and the Rod of Ages completed for a couple of first items. They are ahead on that regard. Jiejie has got himself to Divine Sunder, the only one with a completed item. As you can see, Ruler has just been farming up a storm, doing very well for himself. 5,400 gold is a pretty damn good point to be at 14 minutes into the game. But is it going to be enough?
I don't think it's enough, Oisin, because we obviously see Kanavi playing towards Ruler this game specifically, but the 2 dragons are in the side of EDG, and that just means they are threatening the soul point, where in 3 minutes that will become a very big problem for the side of JDG. So unless Ruler can really get a pick, or at least anything to fasten up the game tempo, it's already looking very hard for JDG.
Yeah, it's looking hard. They have got themselves a little bit of a gold lead for now, but with Ocean Soul on the table, Ocean Soul point, I should say, 2 away for Ocean Soul for EDG, and they're feeling pretty good. You look at the way their team fight is. They've got so many circles, Venn diagram of insane damage coming out here from the Kennen, the Chaos Storm. You've of course got the Cyclone. You've got so many ways of creating an opportunity and just bursting someone down before they have a chance to react. Whereas on the other side, you've got plenty of pick potential. Single target CC is the name of the game here, you would imagine, for JDG. The Chain of Corruption, the Stolen Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the Glacial Prison. These are the things that are going to get you back into the game. You've only got one cleanse to deal with so far, and that's on top of leave. And right now, it is just kind of coming to a point where we imagine the next dragon could be it, honestly, Kitty. It could literally be, if EDG get that fight and that dragon, that could be game.
Yep, that definitely could determine the result of the game. But already see JDG's bot lane rotating to this mid as the Herald is being started by Jiejie. Having so many ults available though, I think EDG, if they find the correct pick, it's going to look really tough.
The arrow hits. They had enough damage to go down on him. The heal is good enough. But it costs so much to try and just save Missing's life. It costs a heal, it costs multiple ultimates, and it costs them the priority around this Rift Herald. So EDG picked themselves up that as well. So again, more and more priority, more and more neutral objectives going over in favor of EDG. And honestly, I'm 100% impressed by this EDG lineup. This has been exceptional so far this series.
Yeah, I mean, during that entire play, I think I just saw Knight CSing in that bottom lane, giving the Herald for free. So many objectives just going into the hands of EDG in the scaling composition where I don't know if CSing too much is going to do a lot for you, Knight, this game, because you are on the Sylas up against the Viktor this time around.
And it is a conversation we've had quite a bit when it comes to Knight, and you know, even within the LPL, is that he does become a little bit of a muted person on the team when it's not going 100%. He has had some exceptional pop-off moments for sure, not taking that away from him, but when you need someone to step up, you need to be proactive. You cannot just take the easy route, because in the LPL, the easy route is a route to doom. It's not going to lean into anything of use to you. And now with you kind of taking over priority in the top side, they're going to use Shelly to get the priority in bot. 30 seconds to the next Dragon, Kitty. How do you want to see these two teams approach it?
I mean, Knight doesn't have that TP available just quite yet, and he is up against Arlo, who does have the option to TP into this fight to secure the soul point for EDG. And of course, it is Ocean Soul this time around. And with the vision being set up already, I think EDG can just honestly walk in for free and take control of the entire bot side, because look at the wave state of that bottom lane. 369 has to clear that before he joins the fight.
Well, they've set up with the Heimerdinger. The turrets are up and available. Full upgraded smite for Jiejie. That's huge. That is an extra 300. Ashe arrow goes wide. They weren't able to catch Ruler out. He had no cleanse and no QSS. And it looks like they're just giving up this dragon. They're happy to let one go over to JDG. They knew they didn't have priority in that bot side or in the jungle. So they're just going to say, look, take it. We'll get something else.
Okay, Oisin, breathe. JDG got the third dragon. That means 5 extra minutes for JDG to be, I don't know, to do something on the map, because you definitely don't want to be giving that soul point towards the scaling team of EDG for this game too. And it does just give you extra time to make plays with, I believe Knight has the Kennen pick around. I think he's going to try and look for a pick potentially onto Olive if he's not too careful.
Yeah, it does have the slicing Maelstrom as he looks to try and make something happen. But again, I don't think Ala really needs to kind of push forward. I will say, Jiejie is looking for something. I think they want Knight to passively use the ultimate because it's going to be running out. I think it's going to be only a couple more seconds before he literally has to use that.
No,
now they're going to look for something. He face checks a little bit. They're going to look for him to try and trade this one back. The TP is going to be coming in off of this one as well. Knight goes golden, keeps himself safe. TP coming in from 369, but it's going to be caught out straight away. Now Knight is dead. 369, you're left in a 1v3. He's going to flash away. Can he keep himself alive? Looks like FoFo won't be chasing too much more onto this. They see Kanavi coming in, but again, EDG, they're proactive. They make the call. They get the kill.
I'm so heartbroken, Oisin. They just had a breather by taking up the third dragon and denying the soul point, and Knight just dies on the side lane, even burning the TP from 369. But I think EDG have been so proactive, of course, making a play on the other side of the map as they gave Dragon for free, burning the flash from Knight as well, where 369 TP's in, but of course, FoFo also responding with the TP, where it just becomes a numbers advantage, and 369 can't really outplay this, and overall, JDG just falls even further behind.
They really do. EDG just calling JDG at every single moment, really just kind of putting down so much pressure. And you lost a stopwatch now on Knight, so your mid-game team fight where you're looking to try and take multiple ultimates, maybe get a little bit more of advantage for yourself, just isn't really a possibility anymore. You're going to have to wait until that becomes a fully fledged Zhonya's. There is a silver lining. Ruler has picked up his Eclipse, so he is picking up some very decent poke damage now available to himself on this Varus. But I need to see multiple piercing arrows to come out here before I really kind of see that this Varus coming in. And honestly, on the other side, Leaves kind of saying, look, I'm going to follow you tit for tat. You may be ahead, but I'm going to go for this Manamune build, which we've been seeing quite a little bit here in the LPL. And I'm just going to keep going with this lethality to burst you out just as much as you're bursting me.
And the problem with Ruler being the sole carry in these 5v5 team comps because he is the most ahead, well, if you are the poke Varus, you don't have a lot of mobility. Once Ala has that flash of Ruler, once Jiejie stares at you in a team fight and just flash ulties you, then Ruler being that immobile AD carry, not having tons available either. So if EDG just gets their hands onto Ruler, then that's all the damage that JDG has dead in the team fight.
You're going to see an ultimate there onto Meiko. Not going to really do into anything else. Has himself even a little bit of honey fruit to top him up. But this Heimerdinger has been putting out some significant damage. Hasn't got himself up to the Rada's Crystal Scepter just yet. Had prioritized a little bit more magic resistance before coming in. I don't dislike that pick, to be perfectly honest. With the amount of burst coming out from Viktor and from Kennen, definitely something to be able to keep himself a little bit more alive. As we see now, 369 trying to just hold this wave on bot side. There's no real objective to take right now. He can let this push in, deny some... Whoa!
Kanavi getting a little bit desperate there, ulting the... was that the clone?
I think, regardless if it was the clone or not, no one was following up. He couldn't get over the wall. So I think his idea was he was trying to Arctic Assault over the wall and ult so that he could keep him there and then get the W off. But I don't think it worked that way.
But you have little Heimerdinger that's following behind with only the Negatron Cloak and the Giant Spell. What are you going to do, man?
I'm
sad, Oisin.
I know. It's okay. Look, it happens. They'll come back. I promise. Just look away. Look. Don't look at this right now.
From now. Just wake me up once JDG wins. Will I ever wake up? Who knows? But Dragon is going to be spawning
wake you up when
in 1
September
minute.
ends.
Dragon is going to spawn for the side of EDG to take this time being the soul point once again. But like you've been saying, I mean, flashes are very important when they are trying to threaten the carry of JDG, which is Ruler, where he has the flash available. So it's going to be really hard to get your hands onto him this fight. But if they can pull it off, I think it's a game-winning play.
And already EDG putting themselves in a position to be able to get themselves on the soul point. They are saying, look, we're getting ourselves here before the Heimerdinger can set up, which means his turrets are not in a good position. 369, fairly tanky at this stage. Hasn't got a second item just yet, but second item's coming across the board. Important to note, Knight is fully stacked on his Rod of Ages and has himself a Zhonya's. So while he's up here, yes, it might be a little bit away from the fight. He has a TP and he is a level ahead of FoFo. So really would love to get us level 16. The cooldown on that hijack would be just so short. As we see now, Kanavi looking for something, does land on the clone. Not able to get much else purchased from that. Chain of Corruption goes wide. Ruler and Kanavi, they're losing out on these pick kind of wards right now. I will say this isn't the soul. This is just soul point right now. And you're gaining a tier 2. You're gaining priority on bot side. This isn't a lost cause for JDG just yet, as Knight will be able to TP into this fight if they want to try and take it.
I mean, Sylas does have the TP available. He does get that tier 2 top lane, like we said.
Here we go. It's going to be the Dragon secured here, and Kanavi dead as well. They've gotten the stolen Kennen ultimate. Can he make the most out of it? The Ashe has died. Ruler can't really get into the fight. Now he can. They're trying to make this one work, but FoFo just zoning everybody away. 369 looks for something, but he cannot find it. Sylas goes off to the side as well. Missing is going to be forced to flash, and that's another summoner dead. It ends up being a... Oh, the deadly flourish from across the wall ends up picking that one up. A 4-for-1. Dragon Soul, they may look for the Baron as well.
4-for-1 for the side of EDG. They're gonna look for more. Ruler has the flash available, but still falls down. Ala just flashing onto the ADC, or the lonely ADC of Rulers. He's the only one that survives the Dragon team fight. Baron going towards the side of EDG as well. I just think this game state is looking so doomed for the side of JDG. You had to look for those mid-game skirmishes with the Sylas and Sejuani. You had to force those team fights, but now it's too late.
Kanavi, this is it. This is to make it up for game 1 and game number 2. He's going to go forward with the ultimate to try and maybe stop Jiejie from getting in. He gets into the pit, but he will not get out. He loses out the Baron, and you know what? You miss all the shots you don't take. He had to go for a steal. Yeah, he'll die, but you have to try something.
I mean, in the end, Jhin gets that Baron, so both junglers technically miss smite. But of course, we see Sylas TPing in pretty late, honestly. The Dragon is already pretty much done for the side of EDG, and Kanavi just hasn't been able to get these smites off, and he dies instantly once again. Ruler just zoned out from the entire fight. Does get Meiko, but have a look at the space that EDG was just able to create from Ruler, where he isn't able to do too much damage, and FoFo just getting rid of 369 in the team fight as well. And of course, very unlucky kill, I guess, for missing, and he splashes into the deadly passive of Jhin. Well, deadly W.
Yeah, the deadly W, yeah. And we'll say, you know what, to leave, he secured the Dragon, he then secured the Baron. Man's been more on top of it than the junglers, and now, speaking of being on top of it, they are on top of 369. Navi, it's like half committing, half not committing. I think he just needed to leave. Speaking of leave misses one of his shots, so he's not able to get the slow. But yeah, this game, this series looks dead and done. And Kitty, this is not a great look right now for JDG, losing the Weibo, losing on the cusp of losing, I should say. It's not dead and buried just yet, but to EDG, this is not the super team that we were anticipating to come in and dominate the LPL. And I gotta give props to everybody else coming into this. They're not letting the nameplates, you know, kind of get at them. They're just coming at this, playing their game and playing it much better.
Yeah, especially for Leave, right, up against Ruler, where he is one of the best ADCs going into this game. Of course, not the best series to have for an example, but Ruler, I mean, Leave playing so disciplined alongside Meiko, where they weren't able to find the opportunities for JDG to sneak back into the game, which is what Knight was looking so desperately for in that mid to late game. But obviously, without those opportunities, you're just gonna completely get outscaled by FoFo and Ala on these champions.
It's just so hard right now. They have got the hole breaker for 369 coming in second right now. So interesting to see his item prioritization. I mean, I look, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just got a thing in your head. I will say Knight has got 3 items, is level 16. They need Knight to step up. It's now or never, in my opinion, as Ruler gets hit.
No cleanse.
No cleanse. They're trying to save him right now. He's going to get jumped on. He does get flash. And actually, the Chain of Corruption lands on the FoFo, interesting enough. But now Knight trying to go 1v1, and Knight does get a pop off. Okay, JDG, this is where you got to get this one going for yourself. One more hit would be good, but I think Leave knows he's not going to be able to land that shot. And he's just going to throw it out after it. So, couple of kills there for JDG. They're not dead and buried just yet, but it's only a start. They need a lot more if they want to try and finish this one off and send us to a game 3.
Dragon is going to be spawning in 1 minute, but of course you just got to have a couple more of those plays where 369 is just free scaling in this side lane with the hole breaker available. And I need to highlight this, that if you do get to a certain point in the game where 369 gets out of control, where Ala and FoFo can't really match the Jax because they just get killed or leaped on, and 369 just has so much damage, so that does become a viable win con for the side of JDG. So they just have to really get their fancy feet online, because Ruler survived that somehow.
Yeah, well, they saw Kanavi there, so they knew that there was at least one in the side here, and they really felt like they could just take out Ruler. They almost got him, but that flash was so clear. And the funny thing is, the Chain of Corruption going that far was actually huge, because it gave JJ a false sense of security. I think he thought it missed. Yeah,
and Knight does get that solo kill onto Ala with the Kennen ult available. It was just a 1v1 brawl. And Knight came out on top for a 2-0 trade, which is really good. But the Dragon is once again online for the side of EDG, this time being Soul. So it's going to be really tough, especially when your Jax has the hole breaker.
Oh, he's got a hole breaker. They get Ruler this time. He gets McHale's. They've already got Kanavi to throw out the Glacial Prison. Deadly Flourish lands and keeps the Poro Rider in stasis. Now, Knight is on a flank. He's behind the Dragon Pit. They have decent vision here for JDG. 369 is using a lot of mana right now against Leave, trying to see if he can maybe get something working for himself. But remember, this is Soul for EDG, but it's only a second Dragon for JDG. Knight still hovering towards that back side. You see TP, it's a flank upon a flank as they look to try and make this one work. 369 needs to reset. Ruler might be in a lot of trouble if he's not careful. Here we go. They find their mark, and they're dead, Katie. No one else shall survive. You've got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow for Knight, not the one you needed. 369 is a passenger in this fight. Knight needs to have a pop-off moment, but he won't be allowed it. FoFo shuts him down. Dragon Soul over to EDG, and the game is in their sights.
The biggest upset going into today, and beautifully played by the side of Ala and Jiejie when we came to these team fights. A very beautiful flank as Ala TP down to that bottom lane and gets his hands onto Ruler and onto the carries of JDG, where they weren't able to react, and of course the game goes into a 2-0 series in the favor of EDG.
2-0 was not the scoreline I was expecting here for EDG. Great flash there from Meiko, I should say, missing, trying his best to clear out these minions. He will too, and this game's not over just yet. The Jack's getting pretty big. Chain of Corruption comes out, and Ala is dead. Two kills for Ruler. GX9 goes down, though. That Chaos Storm doing work. FoFo is very, very low. There is no Baron Wolf minions right now, so they only got themselves the Ocean Soul. They don't end the game just yet, but it is... Their base is in tatters. JDG are going to need about 3 or 4 miracle fights before they can even think about being considered back in this game.
Ruler's out here saying, I got one more in me, and just gets a double kill as he responds and stops the game from ending. But look at this beautiful TP from Ala already in bottom lane and just dodges the vision perfectly, where Ruler wasn't able to react, and he just gets melted alongside missing. And it was just a one fight for the side of EDG, also securing the Dragon's Soul. And of course, this Baron is going to be taken for the side of EDG as well, because they just have zero map control from the side of JDG. And it's going to be really tough to clean off against Baron minions when your wave is being threatened by that.
All right, Kanavi has been spotted, so they know that he's up towards the top side of the Baron pit. Baron starting up there. They're going to get the TP coming in from Knight. He is the carry. He is the damage. A good Chain of Corruption could set him up. He has been spotted. They know he's up towards that top side. Baron, 3,000 HP. Here we go. 50-50. They're going for it. It's been secured by Jiejie. Now we can see them try and go for this fight. Knight goes golden, as does the Kennen. He doesn't get much value out of that Kennen ult at all. Kanavi wants to run away, but he's going to be going straight to the gray screen because he's not able to survive. There's going to be a little bit of an engage coming out here from the curtain call. Good damage onto Meiko here from Ruler, but not able to make it work really. 369 is big, but he's just not going to be able to survive. The Deadly Flourish is good. He has no flash this time around. As I say that, he does get a little bit of an assist to hop himself out, but with the Baron in hand and the Sylas and the Sejuani dead, it should just be a formality.
Ala still has the ultimate available, so even if Ruler walks up and tries to challenge his Nexus, he is going to get popped. Oh no, JDG.
You're a prophet. You're a prophet. He got popped right at the end. EDG 2-0 over at JDG. Fantastic win there for Edward Gaming.
Really good stuff coming from the side of EDG, being 5-1 now, bumping JDG down in the standings. And of course, I just need to highlight how well Jiejie and Ala played these two games. I think they were definitely the highlights coming into this, where they just completely gapped the enemy team. And also, Leave and Meiko playing the bot lane extremely well, being very respectful of the amount of ganks and the amount of pressure that Knight was going to put onto this bottom lane. And of course, not giving any chances over or making any mistakes, even as the newly promoted LDL player like Leave.
Absolutely. And look, this is fantastic for EDG. EDG moved